Congratulations to the LSU Tigers for being the 2019-2020 college football national champions in their victory over Clemson today. I would just like to say, starting out, that I was right. So a little bit of gloating for me. When the rankings first came out, I made a video about did the college football playoff committee get the rankings correct? And I said, yeah, they did. And I said LSU would play Clemson in the national championship game. And I said LSU would win the national championship game. And I said possibly by 10 points. And they obviously did more than that. And I just want to go ahead and say this right from the beginning. Clemson is not a bad team. LSU is just that good of a team. They were that good of a team this year. Joe Burrow in this game had 9.5 yards per attempt and 63% completion percentage against top 1-2 defense in the nation. Those are great numbers in general. So to do that against possibly the best defense in the nation is an outstanding thing to see. And on the other hand, Trevor Lawrence had 6.3 yards per attempt, which is significant because 7.5 yards per attempt is what we would consider to be a competent day. So he was below competent in this game. And you can really see that in the fact that he only completed 49% of his passes. So while Joe Burrow completed 31 of 49 passes for 463 yards, Trevor Lawrence completed 18 of 37 passes for 237 yards, somewhere around that number. So he had a lot of misses, Trevor Lawrence. Some overthrows, some underthrows. He just looked completely off with his accuracy at different times. And this is one of those reasons why I say it, because I saw immediately on Twitter, all over social media, people saying, Trevor Lawrence sucks. He's not that good. He has bad accuracy. He's been missing people all year. And the crazy part of this, I'm not one of those people. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence is bad. He's not a bad quarterback. But I did say last year after the national championship game, I made a video that says, stop overhyping these players. Don't crown them so fast. Stop calling everybody a generational talent. Stop calling everybody a first-round draft pick because you place these unnecessary and undue hype on these players that causes unfair expectations that lead to people then coming back to bash them later on when they don't live up to these crazy lofty expectations that should have never been placed on them from the beginning. Trevor Lawrence is a good quarterback with elite traits. He doesn't play like an elite passer yet. And I think that's something people don't know how to separate. The casual fan doesn't know how to separate that yet. And that's so sad to see this happen to these type of players. He got crowned too fast, and now he's going to get dragged for it all year long, just like Tua Tagovailoa did, Jalen Hurts, everybody, so on and so on. He was very uncomfortable in this game. Not to mention, we just got to throw this out there. I'm going to flip back to LSU. Joe Burrow passed Colt Brennan's touchdown record, the past touchdown records. Colt Brennan had 58 back in the day, back in 2006 for Hawaii. And now Joe Burrow has over 60. That's just ridiculous. One of the best statistical seasons in college football history. So one thing I got to mention though, is that even though Joe Burrow ended with 5 total touchdowns, the Clemson defense with Brent Venables had a great game plan for the LSU offense. The blitzes that they were throwing at the beginning of the game, they came out in that 3-1-7 defense. So 3-1-7 is 3 down defensive linemen, 1 linebackers, and 7 defensive backs. That was actually pretty impressive, and it was working. They were up 17-7, had slowed down the LSU offense significantly, had been up on them the most that any team had been up on them all year. But Joe Brady, Steve Ensminger, and Joe Burrow together figured this out. And they started attacking the spaces of these blitzes. And in this defense that was vulnerable, and they used a running game when it came fit, even though I wish they would have gave Hilaire more carries. Clemson really didn't have an answer after the LSU offense adjusted to what they were doing. Because even when they adjusted, LSU just had them on their heels the whole game. LSU started to exploit the matchups like they usually do because they figured out what the matchups were after figuring out what the Clemson defense was doing. Or they basically just went to the one-on-ones, Terrence Marshall, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. So Chase was winning over A.J. Terrell. And I feel so bad because at one point in the game, Chase was killing Terrell, and people on Twitter started trending number 8 because they were talking about number 8 getting roasted. And the crazy part is that A.J. Terrell, while he did lose in some one-on-one opportunities, it wasn't because he was getting torched per se. Jamar Chase was just winning those battles, and Joe Burrow was throwing perfect passes. And there's nothing you can do as a cornerback in those situations. And also, Thaddeus Moss, the big tight end, Randy Moss's son, was winning matchups against smaller DBs, and that's something that LSU took advantage of. So I can't talk about defense in this game also without bringing up the fact that Dave Aranda, the LSU defensive coordinator, also had a good game plan for Clemson. They started to figure it out as the game went on. Clemson came out, did some interesting things, but they didn't give up anything up the middle, and Charlie Young couldn't really get going, like run game wise, and they had to force them to make plays wide in the run game. And LSU was ready for it. Patrick McQueen was running all over the place, stopping those speed options and stretching plays to the wide parts of the field. And the Clemson receivers just got beat up. They were already a little injured coming into this game, and Christian Fulton and Derek Stingley didn't make it any easier on them. They got the best of T. Higgins and Justin Ross today. And like I said, Patrick McQueen was flying all over the field. But Stingley, man, he's a really good defensive back. Everyone's talking about this true freshman defensive back, and he showed why people have been talking about him. He's really good. So I could analyze a whole lot about this game. I could talk about how Clemson was 1 for 11 on third down. I could talk about how Trevor Lawrence was so uncomfortable all game long due to Dave Aranda and this LSU defense. I could talk about what Clemson was doing early in the game that made them so successful. And I probably will. I want to do a lot of breakdowns on this game, probably make it a playlist like I did last year's national championship, so be on the lookout for that. Stay tuned. But I just wanted to get these first thoughts out about this game because, man, it was something to see. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.